Alibaba just dropped something that the entire AI developer community did not see coming. We're talking about OpenSandbox, a free open source platform that gives AI agents a completely safe and isolated place to run code, control a browser, open a full desktop, and even train machine learning models all through one simple, clean API. And the crazy part is that it hit 3,845 GitHub stars in just 2 days. It is trending number 5 across all of GitHub right now. Nobody was waiting for this. Nobody had it on their calendar. Alibaba quietly posted it live in early March 2026 under the Apache 2.0 license, and the developer community completely lost its mind. So, let me explain why this matters and why every developer building AI agent should be paying close attention right now. Here is the thing. Right now, building an AI agent is actually two separate problems. The first problem is the brain, which is the AI model doing the thinking. The second problem is giving the brain a safe place to act. When your AI agent writes code and runs it, or opens a website and clicks around, it is doing that somewhere. And if that somewhere is your own computer, your company's server, or your cloud account, you are one bad line of AI generated code away from a real disaster. Credentials exposed, servers crashed or odds, an attacker finds a way in through the code the AI itself created. The O was AI Agent Security Top 10 for 2026 leads untrusted code execution as the number one risk for AI agents, and most teams today either build their own basic isolation setup from scratch, which takes months, or they just avoid the problem entirely and hope nothing goes wrong. OpenSandbox addresses this head on. Its core mission is to enable safe execution of untrusted code, and it does that through a unified API that works across Python, Java, and Kotlin, JavaScript and TypeScript, and C#.NET right now, with Go SDK support listed on the roadmap for a future release. And the whole thing runs on the same internal infrastructure Alibaba uses for its own large-scale AI workloads. This is not some side project or a weekend experiment. This is production grade, battle tested, and it is completely free. Now, here is where it gets interesting. The way OpenSandbox is built is actually clever. The architecture is organized into a modular 4-layer stack. You have the SDKs layer at the top where your code lives, the specs layer below that which holds all the rules and API definitions using OpenAPI standards, the runtime layer that powers the actual engine, and the sandbox instances layer at the bottom where the work gets done. Each layer handles its own job without mixing into the others. That clean separation is exactly what makes the whole system so easy to move between environments without breaking anything. The first piece inside the stack is the main server that manages everything. And this is the part a lot of people got wrong when they first looked at it. The server is actually built in Python using FastAPI, not Go. FastAPI handles all the sandbox lifecycle work, creating sandboxes, starting them, stopping them, and checking their status, while communicating through clean open API specifications. Go comes in at a completely different layer. Inside each individual sandbox container, OpenSandbox injects a lightweight, high-performance Go-based execution daemon called execd. That daemon is what connects to internal Jupyter kernels and handles the actual running of code, real-time output streaming through server-sent events, and full file system operations. So Python first API runs the control plane and Go runs the execution engine inside each container. Both are doing the job they're best at. The second piece is the runtime choices. And this is where OpenSandbox really pulls ahead of simpler tools. It supports both Docker and Kubernetes runtime, which means it scales from a single developer laptop all the way to an enterprise cloud cluster. You start testing on your laptop with Docker, everything works, you move to your company's Kubernetes cluster. The exact same code, the exact same behavior, no surprises. Most teams spend weeks fighting the gap between development and production environments. OpenSandbox closes that gap completely. The third piece is what the sandboxes can actually do. And this is honestly where people started going wild online. The platform gives you four main sandbox types: coding agent sandboxes for writing, testing, and debugging code, GUI agent sandboxes that include a full VNC desktop so an agent can click around a real graphical interface, code execution sandboxes for high-speed script running, and reinforcement learning training sandboxes for AI models that learn through trial and error. A full virtual desktop inside a sealed sandbox is not something most people expected. Your AI agent can literally open a web browser, click buttons, fill in forms, and navigate pages, all without any of that touching your real machine. That level of control normally requires a team of engineers to set up from scratch. The fourth piece is the network layer. OpenSandbox includes a unified ingress gateway with multiple routing strategies, plus per sandbox egress controls for every individual container. In simple terms, you decide exactly what each sandbox is allowed to connect to on the internet. One sandbox can talk to a specific API. Another sandbox gets no internal access at all. That kind of fine control is what keeps things safe when you are running dozens or hundreds of agents at the same time, and you need to make sure none of them leak data or reach places they should not. Now, let's talk about what you can actually do with this in real life, because the integration list is almost ridiculous. OpenSandbox ships with 19 different ready-to-run examples out of the box. That includes Claude Code, GitHub Copilot, Cursor, OpenAI Codex, Google Gemini CLI, Kimi CLI from Moonshot AI, iFlow CLI, LangGraph, Google ADK, Playwright, handles Chrome with DevTools, full VNC desktop, VS Code running in the browser, and even both null cloud and open cloud gateway setups. Every major AI coding agent in the industry, all running inside the same platform with the same API and completely isolated and safe. In one real example from the talks, an agent scraps a website using Playwright, downloads the data to the sandbox own file system, then runs Python code to process that data and train a machine learning model. The whole thing, web scraping, data processing, model training, all happens inside one single sandbox session without ever touching the outside world. That was not possible before without months of custom infrastructure work. And then there is the reinforcement learning piece. OpenSandbox includes a full DQN chartpile training loop example that runs inside a sandbox with checkpoints and summary output built in. For anyone building AI that learns through trial and error, having an isolated environment is critical. If your training loop crashes, you want it to crash inside a sandbox, not take down your whole cluster. OpenSandbox gives every training run its own clean environment with zero risk to anything else running alongside it. In fairness, it is not perfect yet. Go SDK support is confirmed as roadmap only, not available today. Persistent storage that can be mounted and kept across sandbox sessions is also listed as a proposal but not yet shipped. The roadmap also mentions local lightweight sandboxes for developers who want to run things directly on their PC without Docker or Kubernetes, which is also not ready. And right now, the star count tells you the excitement level, but not the production war stories. We will need a few months of real-world use before the edge cases start showing up. Anyone who has watched new open source tools launch knows the first wave of users always finds the bugs the authors missed. The bigger picture here is hard to ignore. According to industry data, 100% of enterprises have agentic AI in their roadmap, but 71% are not prepared to run those agents safely. That gap between ambition and readiness is exactly what OpenSandbox is aimed at. And Alibaba did not just ship this as a research paper or a limited preview. They shipped SDKs across 4 languages, Docker and Kubernetes runtimes, a full examples library covering 19 different use cases, and they opened it under Apache 2.0, which means any company can use it, build on it, and even sell products built on top of it. E2 Sandbox and similar managed services have been charging developers per minute fees and locking them into proprietary setups for exactly this kind of functionality. OpenSandbox removes that dependency entirely. That is where we will wrap it up. The question I'm sitting with now is how OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google respond to this, because OpenSandbox just made one of the most painful and expensive parts of building AI agents completely free and completely open. Drop your thoughts below. Make sure you are subscribed, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next one.